moments away from the buck. Come over here, get a burger, shake, concrete. I like the 50-50 going on. A little unsweetened iced tea, lemonade going on. Got that. Everything is great here at Shake Shack. Cold beer if you need it. Great place to watch a game. We got some hoops on right now, so we're taking part in that. So nothing bad about Shake Shack. And right now we're joined by one of the great assistants on Jim Larrañaga's staff, Chris Caputo. And Chris, thanks for stopping by. I know obviously you guys didn't end the season as far as maybe you wanted to, but big picture-wise, this was a great year for Miami Hurricanes basketball. Yeah,
you know, obviously we're a little, you know, like everybody, you get a little disappointed when you lose, but you know, there's only going to be one team that, well, I guess there's 4 teams if you think about 4 tournaments, but there's only one team that comes out of the NCAA tournament and has a happy plane ride on the way home. So,
right.
You know, unfortunately we're one of the 16 that, you know, 15 that won't feel that way, but great year and obviously a lot to be proud of.
Let's take just a couple minutes to go back to the Marquette game, and then I've got much bigger questions to get to. I don't think people I mean, let's forget about the game for a second. I mean, you know, an old wise man probably once said, if you can't make your shots, you're not going to win. And it looks like our shots just weren't falling, which is just, to me, it's just a luck thing, but that's just the way I look at it. But going into the Marquette game, I don't think a lot of people realize what was going on. Obviously, Reggie has the surgery. Shane gets sick. Durant gets hit in the mouth. Guys are nicked up. It was a tough week of practice. And when you don't have ultimate preparation, when you don't have all hands on deck going to the Sweet 16, you're going to have to almost overachieve to get a victory, and it was a tough task for you guys.
Yeah, you know, I guess there's a chronological kind of order of how these things work, and part of it is, you know, that's college basketball. You have to be prepared, you know, to have short preparation times, to travel great distances, quick turnarounds, and things like that. But, you know, for us, you know, first of all, we played the latest possible game on Sunday, if you're looking at East Coast time.
Right.
I played the latest possible game. I believe it was 7:45 Central, so that's what, 8:45 Eastern. And so that game doesn't end probably till, you know, around 11 o'clock Eastern time. And you got a decision to make as a staff of, you know, do you try to leave that night, get in at 4 in the morning? Well, that kind of breaks up the next day, you know, for your players. It's kind of a weird day for them. And it almost, as you know, if anybody who's traveled and those type of hours, it's like horrible. That next day becomes a weird day for you.
Right.
So, you know, we decide, you know, we're going to leave in the morning on Monday and go back to Miami. You know, now like Florida, they were in Austin with us, and, you know, they were playing in Dallas, so they went straight from Austin to Dallas, and that just made sense for them. But I think for them, it gave you a little bit normal, you know, kind of sleep and things like that. For us, you know, we get back Monday, you know, afternoon at some point, and you know, guys went to some evening classes.
Right.
Guys rested. That's a rest day. We're not practicing. And then Tuesday, guys go to their morning classes. We have practice. Tuesday morning, we find out we're not going to have Reggie.
Right.
So that's the first thing. And although, you know, I know people are quick to be critical and say, well, you had some games where you won without Reggie, and, you know, I think in a game like that against Marquette, who was top 20 in the country in offensive rebounding percentage, to lose our best defensive rebounder is an obvious blow at that time.
Plus, that doesn't even take into account the emotional effect.
Correct.
I mean, you know, people could argue about Reggie's play and what have you. You hear it all, but people don't understand how much he meant and how much he means to the rest of the team.
Well, and you know, you feel terrible for a kid like that because I think he was playing about as good as he could play going into the Hawaii event, and then he gets hurt, and you know, you know that it's going to be, you know, it's going to take some time for a guy to come back. He hadn't practiced a month in the middle of the season.
Right.
And then, you know, he gave us some good minutes in the ACC tournament and in the NCAA tournament, and then, you know, kind of going into this going into the Sweet 16 game, we look at a team like Marquette with the front court that they had of Otule and Devontae Gardner, some huge bodies that you feel like, you know, this is a great game for Reggie.
Right.
You know, and so anyway, you felt terrible for him that he wasn't able to take part in that.
So that you find that out Tuesday morning.
Yeah, I mean Monday night, Tuesday morning, whatever.
Right.
So that's kind of going on, and then, you know, then you go into practice, and about 10 minutes into practice, Durant Scott, in a rebounding drill, both of his teeth basically become loose. His like 2 front teeth.
Huh.
So we're leaving. Like practice is at like, I don't know, I think it was at like 10:30 or 11. And so guys went to like 8 a.m. classes, 9 o'clock class, and then by 10:30 we're practicing, and the bus is leaving like at 2 o'clock or something like that. You know, maybe 1:30. And now we gotta, you know, get Durant to the dentist before the bus leaves.
Right.
So he's and this is the first 10 minutes of practice. Our rebounding stuff really early in practice, and so he's gone. So we don't practice with him on Tuesday.
Right.
And then, you know, then we get Wednesday. We travel. We get Wednesday to D.C. You know, you try to have a good practice the day of, and then that night Shane is as sick as can be. Couldn't hold anything. Didn't eat anything until about 3 hours before the game when he ate the pregame meal. And you know, for me in the huddle, I could see he looked. He almost, you know, he looked discolored. You know, somebody that's sick, he looks like yellow. You know.
Right.
So those are all excuses, you know, and they're not. You know, there's no. Everybody's going through stuff.
Right.
Everybody's hurt. It's nothing that's not, you know, uncommon or anything like that. Other teams deal with it. Yet, you know, I think for us, we needed a special effort, and I'm not sure we were equipped that night to have a special effort. And in addition to that, I felt like some of the shots that we made against Illinois, they just didn't fall against.
I mean, a guy like Ryan Brown, for instance, who's hot before, now all of a sudden the basket doesn't like him.
Yeah, I mean, even to the point where we cut it to 13, 7.5 to go. He gets a 3 in transition off a steal. Would have cut it to 10 with about 7:30 to go. It's a lot of time.
Right.
So, you know, it's kind of the way. I wish we could have been a little bit more physical near the basket. I wish we could have maybe gotten fouled a couple more times and stopped the game and gotten to the line. And I wish we could have knocked down a couple of threes, but I don't think in any way it takes away the type of season we had.
As you, Coach Caputo does the scouts for the basketball team. Coach Larinaga divides up his responsibilities for assistants pretty uniquely in college hoops. As a matter of fact, they talked a lot about it on the national broadcast, whereas Coach Huger's involved with the defense, Coach Conkle does the offense, Coach Caputo does the scout. And when you scouted Marquette, when you looked at what the game plan should have been, as you looked at things that worried you, did they come to fruition during the game?
Well, you know, I would say they're really a driving team, a team that gets fouled a lot.
Right.
A great offensive rebounding team, a very good defensive team. You know, certainly they defended us very, very well. They're a team that kind of, you know, I think they changed some things defensively for us that we were prepared for, but they have some other things that they did defensively that we had to prepare for because they're a little uncommon.
Right.
We didn't see them as much, but I think going into the game it would have been a mistake not to prepare for them. And then, you know, I thought they made some shots from 3 in particular that, you know, were, you know, maybe a little uncharacteristic. They're not.
Yeah, they weren't a three-point shooting team, and they were getting all their early ones real quick, you know, and they built that lead right off the bat.
Yeah, you have a guy like Wilson that made 38 threes in the year. He made 3 in our game.
Yeah, that's good.
You know, so about 1 a game, and he made 3. So that's, you know, those are things in coaching. I mean, you know, you try to do your best to prepare your team for what, you know, what they might be seeing, but in a 2-day preparation, you're going to do the best you can to get those guys prepared personnel-wise, but also try to show them the identity. And really the identity of that team is they were a driving team and an offensive rebounding team. And I thought their physicality at the rim would have been negated to some degree had we had Reggie.
Well, I think absolutely it would have been, because he was definitely a bigger body under there. The other thing is a lot of people were complaining about they didn't seem like the call of fouls quite as easily as they had in some of the games. You know, seemed a very rough game.
Yeah, I think that, you know, again, I think that sometimes, you know, that the team that you're playing sometimes, you know, they dictate the physicality of the game. I think in the NCAA tournament they let you play a little bit. They're not as apt to be blowing the whistle as much. And, you know, credit Marquette. They had a great game plan. They forced us to make some shots, and we didn't make them. And, you know, I think if you would have spelled that out to us before the game and said this is what they're going to do, we probably kind of expected that. And hey, you're not going to make any shots. And I think we would have said we'd have been in for a long night, particularly without Reggie's presence near the rim on the defensive backboards and limiting them, you know, near the basket area. I think they got some. If you look at our season and you think about the number of times post players caught the ball 2 feet from the basket and scored on us, I don't know that there's a lot you could hang your hat on of just games where they punch the ball inside to a post player and that guy scored. I thought, you know, we were in the top. I think we're in the top 15 in the country in defending the two. And part of it is you know, having Reggie and Julian near the rim, just not allowing people to get that close, not allowing them to get great shots near the rim. But when you're playing a team that's so good themselves at that, you need to be 100%. You need to have every bullet in the gun, and we didn't.
Our second chance points were for other teams, and both the Illinois game and that one were probably more than we'd given up most of the season when we were playing. Yeah,
and you know, two teams that are great rebounding teams. But, you know, and probably part of that with Illinois is because we went small a little bit. But, you know, in the case of Marquette, I really, and you can't, again, it's not an excuse because you're not taking anything away from Marquette, but I just feel like, you know, had we had just another body in the front court there, I think we maybe could have negated some of the things they did at the rim.
Let's just real quick before we take one break, which is, all right, Marquette game over, season over, Sweet 16 over, great run. But again, when you look at it, I think if Coach Larinaga sits in front of the media, sits in front of the fans before the season starts and says, I guarantee you we're going to win the ACC regular season, the ACC tournament, and go to the Sweet 16, people would have been like, I think you're crazy, but that's awesome. So I know you guys are disappointed, but I don't want it to take away from how really great this season was.
Well, you know, and again, I think, you know, in the grand scheme of things, I hope everybody understands what happened here this year.
It's great. It was unbelievable.
To win the regular season, to win the tournament, to fill that building up, to have
never happened before.
To have LeBron James at the games and, you know, different celebrities at the games, to create that type of atmosphere and school spirit, to do that at a time that, you know, the university really needed a great story in athletics. I hope that people here appreciate what not the coaches, but the guys on the team, what those people mean when you look at the University of Miami's basketball program, when you look at the University of Miami's athletic program, and really when you look at this time at the University of Miami, what those, you know, 13, 14 guys did for the university. I think it should stand the test of time when you're writing the book on this great institution.
Talking to University of Miami basketball assistant Chris Caputo, joining us live here at Shake Shack. We're going to take a quick break here at allCANES Radio. When we come back, we're going to look at the future, look at the guys that are coming back, look at how's recruiting going, looking at the plan that you guys have to keep building this program. We'll be back with more talking Miami Hurricanes basketball with assistant coach Chris Caputo. Back after this, live from Shake Shack in the Gables. After this, on allcanes.com, and of course, if you're watching, it's FSSNTV on Twitter.
We don't care about nobody except it's you. We don't.
You're listening to allCANES Radio.
You're a Canes fan. and you want the best gear. Well, you know there's only one place to go, and that's allCANES. allCANES, just a stone's throw from the U on Ponce, has been outfitting Canes fans for over half a century. Want the latest and best Canes t-shirts? allCANES has them. Want the official coach's polo and sideline gear? allCANES has it. They've got dozens of hats, the latest Nike gear, customized jerseys, shirts, shorts, sexy tops for the girls, and the cutest kids gear you've ever seen. Get the whole family dressed for victory at allCANES. allCANES is located at 5831